Hello friend, welcome to Training Center Shauki. Here is the second part of brushless generator troubleshooting, which will discuss about main starter testing, rectifier testing, and varistor testing. Let's go for section 1, main starter testing. Before that, please be warned about this. Okay, a brushless generator with PMG excitation consists of several key components that work together to produce stable electrical power. Here we have coupling, shaft, main generator, exciter generator, permanent magnet generator, rotating rectifier, and AVR. If you want deeper explanations, especially how each part works and how energy flows through the system, please check the link provided in the description. Fault finding on a generator becomes much more manageable when you break this system into clearly defined sections. First area is winding and the rotating rectifier assembly. The second area is AVR module. And the third area is the PMG system, if the generator is equipped with one. When troubleshooting a generator, several key tools are used to obtain accurate electrical measurement. First is multimeter, which allow you to check voltage, resistance, and basic continuity. For insulation integrity, the insulation tester is essential. By applying a high test voltage, it reveals the condition of insulation between windings and between the winding and the generator frame. Clamp meter is used to measure current without disconnecting any cables, and micro ohm meter is used to measure extremely low resistance value. First, we measure or test the insulation of the winding. Before performing insulation tests on a generator, several important steps must be followed to ensure accurate and safe result. First is disconnect the AVR completely at the AVR terminal. Second, disconnect any link between neutral and earth. The next is stator insulation must be checked with an insulation tester. And for this same low voltage machine, the minimum acceptable insulation resistance is 1 mega ohm to earth. Any reading below this level indicates that the insulation is compromised, usually due to moisture or deterioration. In such case, the winding must be dried out before the generator can be operated safely. Now is generator winding test. This test method is separately exciting the generator with a 12-volt battery. In some generator troubleshooting procedure, the AVR is temporarily removed and replaced with a 12-volt DC supply from a battery. This method is used to directly energize the generator's excitation without the AVR involved. By applying a controlled DC voltage to the exciter field, we can observe whether the generator is capable of building voltage on its own. If the generator produces output when supplied with 12-volt battery, it confirms that the excitation system, the exciter winding and rotating rectifier, and the main rotor are functionally correct. However, if no output is produced when we use 12-volt battery as an excitation source, this indicates a deeper issue, possibility with the exciter stator, exciter rotor, the rotating rectifier assembly, etc. This test help to isolate whether the problem lies in the AVR or the generator's internal excitation component. To carry out this excitation test safely and correctly, begin with stopping the generator operation. The generator must not be running during this step. Next, disconnect the AVR from the generator. And then after the AVR is removed, connect a 12-volt battery directly to the exciter stator cable. Make sure to connect the positive terminal to F1 and negative terminal to F2. And remember, the polarity must not be reversed for a better result. And after that, inspect all connection carefully and make sure everything is secure and safe to operate. Once all connections are confirmed, restart the generator and allow it to reach its nominal RPM. When the speed is stable, measure the outgoing terminal voltage under no load condition. This reading will show whether the generator can build voltage correctly when excited by the external 12-volt supply. And for the result, check the line-to-line voltage using a multimeter. This measurement confirms how well the generator is producing its output under excitation. The voltage on all of three phases should be balanced with a tolerance of about 1%, and each reading must fall within 10% of the generator nominal voltage. If the reading matches this condition, it indicates that the winding and the rotating diodes are in good condition. However, if the voltage is unbalanced, this points to a fault within the main stator winding. In that case, make sure that all external cable and connection are completely removed from the generator. Then repeat the test again. If the voltage imbalance still present even with the generator is isolated, this confirms that the main stator is defective and requires further inspection or repair. And the symptoms of a main stator fault. Here, when the main stator winding is damaged, the generator will show several very clear symptoms. The first sign is unbalanced output voltage. Number one is when we do separately excited using a battery. Under normal condition, applying this 12 volts to the exciter should not place any noticeable load on the engine. If the stator winding is short, the faulty magnetic path allows the large short circuit current to circulate inside the generator. This makes the engine feel loaded, even though no electrical load is connected externally, means that there is a short circuit inside the generator. The third and most critical symptom is localized overheating. Of course, because of that little short, there will be overheating. If the generator is run even for a short period with a winding fault, the damaged area will heat up very quickly. This heat can often be detected simply by placing a hand near the winding section or by noticing the distinct smell of burning insulation, which is a strong indicator of internal damage. When these symptoms are present, a conclusion is clear: the main stator winding requires repair or replacement. Next is rotating rectifier test. This test is performed to determine whether the individual diodes on the rotating rectifier are functioning correctly. A single failed diode, whether open or shorted, will prevent the main rotor from receiving the proper DC excitation. As a result, the generator may fail to build voltage, produce unstable output. To begin the rotating rectifier test, make sure the generator is completely safe to work on. First, stop the generator set and disable the engine. Next, remove the excess cover from the air intake section. Locate the main rotating rectifier on the shaft. This component is mounted on the generator's rotating exciter and is responsible for converting the AC produced by the exciter rotor into DC. And for the next step, disconnect the 6th end of the exciter rotor connection from the rectifier diode. These 6 leads come from the exciter rotor winding and feed AC to the rotating rectifier assembly, where the diode convert it to DC for the main rotor. The reason this cable must be disconnected is to isolate each diode completely. When the cables are still attached, the diodes remain connected to the rest of the winding circuit. This can cause false reading, electrical backpath, or parallel connection that make it impossible to identify whether a diode is short, open, or functioning normally. After you open the access to rotating rectifier, we now may start to test this. Set the multimeter to the diode test position. With the position test lead on the diode's cathode side, the meter should give a reading indicating electron flow. Reverse the multimeter leads, so the positive lead on the diode anode side. This multimeter should now read OL, no electron flow. When testing the rotating rectifier diodes, several possible conditions may appear, and each one tells us something different about the health of the excitation system. The first condition is the normal diode reading. In this case, the diode should conduct in one direction and block current in the opposite direction. When tested with multimeter in diode mode, it will show a voltage drop in the forward direction, typically a few hundred millivolts, and it will show OL or no conduction in the reverse direction. This confirms that the diode is functioning normally. The second condition is shorted or leaking diode. A shorted diode will show conduction in both directions, meaning it no longer blocks current when reverse biased. In some cases, it may not be a complete short, but instead of leaky condition where the diode partially conduct in reverse. Both situations are serious because they allow AC to pass directly into the DC field circuit. This causes unbalanced excitation, unstable output voltage, and in many cases, prevent the generator from building proper voltage. A shorted or leaking diode must be replaced immediately. The third condition is an open diode. An open diode shows no conduction in either direction, essentially behaving like a broken wire. With this fault, the exciter rotor cannot deliver current to the main rotor on that part of the rectifier circuit. This results in insufficient or no excitation, causing low voltage, unstable voltage build-up, or complete loss of generator output. Just like a shorted diode, an open diode requires replacement. The symptoms of a diode failure is, number one, the voltage will be low when separately exciting with a 12-volt battery. And a self-excited AVR system may not build up voltage on run-up. A PMG AVR system may trip repeatedly on high excitation protection when load is applied, depending on how many diodes have failed. Then, diodes usually become short-circuit when faulty. Two or more diodes short-circuit can overheat the exciter rotor. A short-circuit diode can sometimes melt its solder terminal because very hot. Then the last part, varistor test. To test the varistor on a brushless generator, begin with disconnecting one of the main rotor wires, either the positive or the negative lead. This step is important because it isolates the varistor from the rest of the circuit. If the varistor is left connected, other components in parallel may interfere with the reading, making it impossible to know whether the measurement is coming from the varistor itself or from the winding. After the wire is removed, set the multimeter to the resistance or ohm position. With the meter ready, measure across the varistor terminal. A healthy varistor should show OL or open line in both directions. This happens because the varistor has no polarity and under normal condition, it does not conduct at low test voltage. If the multimeter shows continuity or a very low resistance, this means the varistor is short-circuited or leaking, which is a sign of damage. In many cases, a failed varistor will be visibly burned or physically broken, caused by absorbing excessive fault current during an overvoltage event. The purpose of this test is to confirm whether the varistor is still capable of performing its protective function. The varistor is responsible for clamping dangerous voltage spike that could otherwise damage the rotating rectifier diodes or the main rotor windings. By checking it directly, we ensure that the generator's protection path is intact. When a varistor fails inside the generator excitation system, the most common result is that the component goes into short circuit condition. Instead of acting as a high resistance protective device, it becomes a direct path for current, which can immediately disturb the excitation circuit. In many cases, the failure is not gentle. A varistor can fail catastrophically and it may even explode. This happens when the energy surge exceeds the device's ability to absorb it, causing the internal material to overheat, crack, and rupture violently. On generators that use a self-excited AVR system, a short-circuited varistor has a critical impact during startup because the system relies on small residual magnetism to begin building voltage. The shorted varistor effectively clamps the excitation circuit. As a result, the generator will not be able to build any output voltage when the engine starts. In contrast, on a PMG-type AVR system, the reaction can be different. The permanent magnet generator supplies a stronger excitation source. When the varistor fails short-circuit in this system, the PMG can force the failed varistor to burn open, leaving it in open circuit condition after the damage has occurred. It is important to note that the generator itself can continue to operate normally even without the varistor installed. The varistor's role in protection, not voltage generation. However, running without it means the excitation system is no longer protected from high energy spikes. Finally, if the varistor has failed, all of the excitation diodes must also be replaced. A varistor failure usually indicates a severe surge or fault event. The same stress that destroys the varistor can also weaken or partially damage the diode. Replacing every diode ensures reliability and prevent future hidden failure. And now what next? After replacing the diode or the varistor, the next step is to reconnect the battery if it was previously removed. Once everything is safely reconnected, start the generator and allow it to run at its rated operating speed. With the generator running at full speed, recheck the output voltage at the main terminal. If the voltage now falls within 10% of the rated value, this confirms that the fault has been successfully corrected. By this stage, any defect in the main stator winding, in the rotating rectifier diode, or in the varistor should already have been identified and resolved. With the fault removed, the generator should produce a stable and balanced output. The voltage across all three phases must be balanced, and each phase should remain within 10% of its nominal value. When these conditions are met, it indicates that both of winding and the diodes are in good operation condition. If the output voltage is still reading low, specifically more than 10% below the rated value, this is a clear indication that the problem does not come from the diodes or the varistor. Instead, it points to a fault somewhere within the excitation winding. In this situation, the next step is to thoroughly inspect three key components: the exciter stator winding, the exciter rotor winding, and the main rotor winding. Any weakness, damage, or abnormal resistance in this winding can prevent the generator from producing the correct level of excitation, which result which result in low terminal voltage. To confirm the condition of this component, the winding resistance value must be measured and compared with the official specifications provided in the generator's operation and maintenance manual. These reference values are critical. Even small deviations can indicate shorted turns, high resistance joints, or partial insulation failure. If the measured resistance does not match the specified range, the affected winding must be repaired or replaced to restore proper generator performance. Okay, that's all for today. See you in next video.